Welcome back to the podcast. It's part 2 of the 2026 fundraising trends. We're going to cover tools, tech, and leadership shifts that accelerate growth. So if you haven't listened to part 1, go back and listen to part 1. I covered the strategic and visibility shifts that are shaping the future of fundraising. So we're going deeper today into more tactical tools and that leadership mindset that you need to accelerate results. These trends are going to separate the organizations that grow from the ones that stay stuck. So let's dive in. Trend number 7, prioritizing better tech, tools, and automation. Now, last quarter, so Q4 of last year, I had a lot of conversations with my clients who were looking at making a move. Maybe the move was a CRM, a donation tool, a new email service provider, some sort of move. Maybe they needed some sort of new tech solution. And they also were like, I cannot do any migration right now. I can't even have those sales calls right now, which made a lot of sense. And what I told them was Q1 is the perfect time for this. So right now is the perfect time. If you've been not using your CRM, if your CRM is clunky or outdated, if it's not helping you move the needle, I highly recommend moving to a more modern CRM, modern donation tool. Now is the time to make those decisions where you want to, much like, let's say you're looking for a new pair of jeans and you're like, I'm not going to go to the Gap. I always go to the Gap. I want to try a different brand. I want you to go to the more than one store. So go try on a couple of different pairs of jeans before you find the right jeans for you. So now is the time to go look at some different tools. Send me a message if you have a question on what donation tool or email service provider or tech tool. Maybe you want to add video thank yous to your tech stack. I can help you and kind of recommend the ones that I love for any of those tech solutions. By the way, you can always go to splendidatl.com/tools. I do have some favorites listed there for you. But now is the time to start looking and then deciding. Don't just look. Like, don't be the looky-loo who browses and then doesn't make a decision because you get into indecision and overwhelm. Be the person who's like, I'm going to go find the perfect pair of jeans. I'm going to clean out my closet and get the new jeans. So for you, that may be, I'm going to sunset the old donation tool and move over here to the new donation tool. Because modern tools unlock smoother workflows, cleaner data, higher converting campaigns, and they are huge retention drivers. Some of y'all are too married to your outdated tech while also holding a big, bold fundraising. And the two are like magnets, like opposing, repelling each other. So if you have a big, bold fundraising goal, if you have a goal to retain more donors this year than ever before, if you have a goal to bring in and upgrade more major donors this year, you need the right tech to support those goals. So don't be so married to the tech. Listen, your finance person, your board member, somebody out there may be like, we can't change. It's too hard to change. That is just old school thinking. And that old school thinking will give you old school fundraising results. So better tools mean better reporting, better conversion, better donor experience. We should care more about the donor's experience, less burnout, faster campaigns. I have a couple of go-to donation tools that I like for my clients. It depends on a few things. It depends on what type of fundraisers they run, what type of campaigns they run, and where they are as far as annual budget. So a couple of my go-tos end up being the easiest to use. I pick tools that I myself don't feel overwhelmed when I log into the dashboard, and when I have to create a campaign, it feels very, very easy. You should not have overwhelm, or you should not feel like, oh no, I have to create another online fundraiser. That's going to take days. That should take you about 10 minutes. So 2026 is the year that organizations and leaders finally stop tolerating clunky CRMs, clunky tech, confusing donation pages, and outdated email tools. Stop tolerating the status quo. Think about the for-profit sector. They're innovating at a pace that now we have nonprofit tech that exists that is so much faster, so much less clunky, so much more optimized than ever before. But now we have nonprofits who are reluctant to adopt it. So let that reluctancy, let that be a signal to you that if you have a big, bold goal, why are you waiting? Why are you dealing with a CRM that you hate? Why are you dealing with a donation tool that is really clunky and hard to navigate? All right, I think I've sold you on that. Now is a great time to really capitalize and prioritize that trend. Trend number 8, AI assisted fundraising is becoming normal. Normal. I hope that you are using some sort of AI something, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, some sort of AI assistant in your world. I like to think of ChatGPT, I use the paid version as my third assistant. It is helping me streamline my internal workflow so much faster. So AI becomes an accelerant, not the replacement. It's much like Grammarly. I think Grammarly was something that we all sort of used many, many years ago and still continue to use. And when I first built my email course, Easy Emails for Impact, I remember saying to my clients on that first cohort of like, this, you are the boss applesauce. You can override Grammarly because Grammarly will suck out the life and humanity of your story if you let it. And I want to give you that same metaphor for AI. You're still the boss. So watch out for the M dashes and the things that it sort of loves to default to do. It's not that it's replacing your voice. It's not that it's replacing your need to storytell or your ability to innovate. You are overriding it, but it's helping you do your job faster. That's why my programs include now AI trained GPTs built around my frameworks. We have this inside the Sprint Method and the Purpose and Profit Club, and our clients love it because they save hours, they write faster, build those stories, build those campaign conversion pages, come up with email subject lines, send stronger campaigns using this as an assistant, right? You should be using it as an assistant, not as the boss, okay? I just want to share with you some other ways that I've used AI. I've used AI recently to find a charity in a cause area that I wanted to support. So instead of going to Google, I had a conversation with ChatGPT and said, here's a cause area I would like to support. Can you help me find some organizations that serve this sector? And it was such a fascinating way to find the right fit. You can use AI. I used AI to find the right dishwasher recently, right? So we're using AI in a way now where it's absolutely replacing Google and it's working smarter and it can help you as well. It should be helping you internally in your operations day to day. So it can help you shop for a computer. Just did that. It can replace what maybe pediatricians don't love, but Dr. Google. It can at least help you kind of do that Google searching we all used to do going, is this a doctor's visit or is this a watch and wait, right? So we are using AI for all aspects of your life. And if you have been resistant to it, I want you to at least create a free account and start just dipping your toe in it. Even if you use it for summaries, even if you use it for board reporting and you're just using it to organize your thoughts. One of my favorite ways to use it is I grab my phone, I have it on my phone, and I will walk and talk. I will walk and talk to it so that I can talk faster than I can type. Maybe you're like me. I don't know. So I can talk faster than I can type. So I can literally give it a full debrief and it is my typist. And I'm like, organize it. So it will organize my thoughts into notes and then it will summarize it, right? And then it can write an email for me based on those notes. So those are some of the ways that I love to use it. Drafting emails, tightening copy, generating story angles. If you feel like you've just kind of said the same thing again and again and you're out of ideas, it can help you brainstorm that. Summarizing those board notes, donor notes, preparing talking points, structuring your campaigns. We have the AI coach bots inside both the club and the Sprint Method will help you come up with the name of your campaign. They're really great. So you can even turn transcripts into stories with consent if you have permission to record a transcript with maybe a program director or something like that inside your organization. You can then take that transcript and you can create stories from that, create talking points from that. It really makes a lean team twice as big. It also helps to replace what felt like slow, clunky workflows into automated, quick, fiery, got it done, to-do list, check that off. So start using AI. I prefer ChatGPT. I know a lot of people are happy with Gemini. And for more robust AI, some people like Claude. I should give you this distinction though. Please make sure if you're asking it for a stat, you ask it to cite sources and you check it. If you're asking it to do math, if you're uploading a spreadsheet or anything like that, check it because it will hallucinate. That is the word that my husband and I use. I think that's a word some people it will just come up with stats and stories, and you always want to make sure you actually have sources for that, so that it's not just creating hallucinations that aren't factual to your organization. I started this conversation by saying, make sure that you're the boss. It is the assistant. So you are always making sure that everything it's coming up with is factually correct and true. I'm excited for trend number 9, donor advised funds moving into the spotlight. Okay, so here's a trend that I've been really watching and studying and like watching it emerge as part of our vernacular. And I think that this year it's going to continue to double in just overall size of awareness. So donor advised funds, go back. We will link to it in the show notes, but we had Mitch Stein from Chariot back on the podcast a while back, where he will give you the lay of the land about DAFs. DAFs are donor advised funds. They are not fringe. They are really one of the most fastest growing philanthropic tools. DAF donors are ready to move money if you name it, normalize it, and make it easy. So you can go back to that episode and learn more about donor advised funds, but there's a few things that I want to just liken it to. They're not just for the hyper wealthy, rich people that you think, nope, I don't know any of those people. Donor advised funds, you can start a DAF for $1,000. So they maybe even less. Maybe it's even 500. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that. But a very low barrier to entry. There's a lot of advantage, a lot of reasons why people choose to create their own donor advised fund. And they're really moving into a more popular part of the landscape. We also saw a DAF Day happen earlier this year, and I got so many emails about DAF Day that I was like, is this the next Giving Tuesday? Is this Giving Tuesday light? And I really think that when we as a community can come together and come up with a reason for giving, people will follow. Donors will follow. So for example, a few years ago, it might have been 2020 or 2021, one of the two. There was a second Giving Tuesday. There was a Giving Tuesday in the spring. It was, I want to say April or May, and it was very, very successful. So if there is a reason for another Giving Day, another DAF Day or something like that, donors will show up. Donors will give. And I loved the rise of DAF Day in just kind of the zeitgeist. And I think that will continue. It's a great tool for you to reach out to your donors. You probably have donors right now in your network that have donor advised funds that haven't gifted them to you. One of the issues with donor advised funds is a lot of time people will have the donor advised fund and they won't grant it to the organization. So we can sometimes we might liken this as like Venmo money isn't real money. It's kind of fun money. It's just sitting in your Venmo account. I think of my Venmo money as my estate sale, yard sale kind of fun money. And I actually think that donor advised funds for some people have a similar piece because donors have already invested that money in a DAF. It exists. It's just sitting in a bank account. It is there. It can only be used for charitable giving. They've already moved their cash from their checking account over here to a DAF, and it can only be used for charitable giving. So imagine you have somebody who has $10,000 sitting in a donor advised fund. That 10K could be sitting there for 1, 2, 10 years even. So that money is sitting there and they can gift it, grant it to your organization at any time. And they won't see the money leave their checking account, right? Or money being charged, a charge on their credit card the way they would with a just normal transaction. So that's why I love it, because it's like money that has already been earmarked for charity. Somebody has already put it there, and all they have to do is grant it to you. So I actually talked to Mitch for a brief moment before I was getting ready to record this. And I asked him, I was like, okay, we're doing this trend episode. I think DAFs are about to be huge. Do you have anything else you want to say? And he said, with the surging stock market, new tax changes, and increased accessibility of DAF giving, all signs are pointing to even greater acceleration of DAF usage in 2026. I totally agree. Again, it used to be you could only have a DAF if you had, $25,000 or more to start an account. Now you can start it for very little. There's a very small barrier to entry. And then he goes on to say, if you haven't yet, now is the time to think about your organization's DAF strategy and what's in control to take advantage of the DAF explosion. Okay. So I'm going to be talking more about this on the podcast because it is interesting to me. I have started my own DAF account. And one of the things I noticed right away was I have the DAF account. And now I can I can grant my DAF, I can donate to your campaign. On some pages, they already have an integration for donor advised funds. And on some nonprofit donation pages, they do not. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I feel like I'm doing the behind the scenes work to really get to know the user experience for donors on this. And I will report back to you. But I want you to think about, how can we take advantage of this trend? What could I do right now if a donor called me and said, hey, I have a donor advised fund, but I don't see how I can gift it to you? What do I do? You need to make sure that you have a workflow for that, number one. Number two, please make sure that they can gift it to you online, that it's not some long drawn out process. All right, let's move on to trend number 10, coloring outside the lines. I grew up, I think, hating coloring books. And I remember when my oldest, my son, started, maybe it was pre-K or kindergarten, and he came home with one of those like follow the leader style art projects where the teacher, draws, like, I don't know, a dog. And then everybody has exact shapes cut out and everybody draws the same thing. And so everybody's art piece looks exactly the same. And I got like really irritated, because if you don't know this, I went to art school and I'm a fine artist, and I just love art so much. And it really irritated me because I was like, this is just carbon copies. This is 20 kids doing the exact same thing, more or less. And I would rather them have, shown some images of dogs and had some blank paper and let the kids collage or open draw or free draw or whatever. Okay, you get my point. So trend number 10 is near and dear to me. Coloring outside of the lines is essential for your organization. Now, what do I mean? I'm not talking about visual arts here. I'm talking about that organizations grow faster when they stop following outdated rules. This is all about rejecting legacy thinking and choosing what actually moves revenue. Coloring outside of the lines looks like sending more emails, and juicier ones that are more authentic, ones that are true to you, ones that actually have your voice in them. The words you use sound like you're emailing a friend. Asking earlier, not waiting for 6-month-long cultivation cycles. Launching a shorter sprint campaign, launching campaigns more often, right? Because you're unafraid, because you have a reason. Not waiting for committee approval, not waiting for everybody in your organization to slow clap and go, yes, we think that's a good idea. And instead you stepping into your leadership and saying, we're going to color outside the lines here. Let's go. I've got a creative idea. And we go. Dropping the raffle, the auction, the outdated dry chicken dinner, the thing that has been a time suck, a mental energy suck, and an expense suck in your organization. Color outside the lines. Coloring outside the lines may be moving from the dry chicken dinner to a bingo night at a brewery. I had a couple of people tell me about like some similar things, and they love them. This also could mean moving from, the dry chicken dinner or the auction to donor hosted micro events. We're going to talk about those more on the podcast. This could also be hosting your community online together. There's so many ways that I'm not trying to say anti-gathering, anti-bringing people together. I'm trying to say, what's another way we can reimagine it for today, for today's consumer habits, for today's preferences. This could also mean breaking the formal tone. Not everything should sound vanilla and beige and boring. Asking for help. If you are in charge of fundraising, you should not be doing it alone. You should have a social street team of ambassadors and influencers who are a part of your advocacy network, building up your awareness for your cause. You should have your board members. Your board members should be fundraisers. If they are not, you need to, 1, change the culture of that board, and 2, bring in some new board members. Experimenting. Don't be afraid to experiment. I'm thinking about this coloring example, and I have pages and stacks of blank sketchbooks because I don't want to color in the lines. I want to create something myself versus the coloring books, the ones that you're just supposed to color in the exact follow the leader. Like, no, get yourself a blank sketchbook. If this year you want to raise another $100,000 in funding on top of your current fundraising revenue, Ask yourself, what are 20 ways that I could do that? From those 20 ways, what are the top 5 ways, the top 5 lowest hanging fruit? Now get creative with the top 5. Then get creative with what do I want to start with today? Pick one. So like really just letting yourself brainstorm, ideate, and then don't pick the hardest one. Don't pick the most expensive one. Don't pick the most labor intensive one. Don't pick the one that costs 6 months to plan. Ask yourself, what would be really cool here? What would people really get excited about? Moving fast. Coloring outside the lines means being decisive and moving fast. It is the mindset behind every record-breaking campaign. And that brings me to trend number 11, decision speed as a growth strategy. This is huge. This is huge. If you are currently experiencing some level of overwhelm, some level of burnout, some level of exhaustion, some level of just avoidance as it pertains to fundraising, you're growing your nonprofit, I want you to look at decision speed. How many times have I been spinning out over changing my tech tool? How many times have I been spinning out over one small decision we need to make? How many times, how long does it take me to write, draft, and send an email, a fundraising email? How long does it take me to write a direct mail appeal letter? Because slow approval kills momentum. Waiting for committees to everybody think it's a great idea and then everybody's redlining everything kills innovation. Perfectionism kills revenue. You need to step into your most decisive leader because decision speed is a leadership advantage here. Leaders who can move quickly, trust their instincts, and take action will absolutely grow faster in 2026. Why? Because your campaigns get cleaner, your message gets sharper, and your donors feel that instantly. It's more connective with them. It's resonant with them. So decision speed looks like, if we're going to use the jeans example, I'm going to take one day, I'm going to go shopping for jeans for 2 hours. I'm going to try on jeans. And by the end of the 2 hours, I will have 3 new pairs of jeans. So that means I'm going to take one day. I'm going to peruse 3 to 5 nonprofit donation tools. I will book a sales call with the top 2, and then I will make a decision within 48 hours. That's decision speed. Instead of, I love you, but what you're doing is dragging this out to a 6 to 12 month decision. Don't do that. Are you also going, maybe we should do a website update, maybe we should do a brand update, maybe we should, where everything's just like a maybe? Make a decision. Is this a 2026 decision, or are we going to decide right now we are not doing a branding update until 2027? Do that, because that indecision literally takes up space in your brain. How do I know this? Because I've, been guilty of this before too, where I'm like, okay, make the decision. Make the decision. Do the hard thing in the beginning part of the day. Make the call, make the decision. Say yes. If you have a contractor you haven't been happy with and you've just been like dragging along, right? Make the decision. It's time to hire somebody else. Get the job spec up. All right, decision momentum. Let's move on to the final trend, trend 12. Tech-driven donor experience and frictionless giving. Donors are consumers, consumers are donors. This past holiday season was more clear to me than any other season of how much consumer habits have changed for the better, in the sense of how frictionless it is for you to go from had never heard of this brand to ordered the thing within about 2 minutes, right? You can do it on your phone. You can do it without creating an account. You can do it without entering in your credit card information. It is so frictionless to buy a product now online, across the board. So how do we adapt in the nonprofit sector? Donors expect giving to be fast and easy. One click, clear buttons, mobile-friendly pages, donor advised funds acceptance, fast receipts. The organizations that reduce friction at those touch points will see higher conversion and stronger donor confidence. So this is partly your tech tool, but it's also what happens after they give. Okay, so it's not just your donation tool. What happens when a new donor gives to your organization for the first time? What are you doing? Okay, you're sending them an automated tax receipt. Okay, what else? That's the bare minimum, by the way. Bare minimum. They're getting an email with a tax receipt from you. What else? What else can you do to make this the most delightful donor experience? And this is such an opportunity. So last year I gave to over 10 organizations as a new donor. If I had to sit here and think of all 10, we would be here for hours. Why? Because so many of them never followed up with me beyond that tax receipt. Maybe they emailed me once over year end. I forgot. I don't remember the name. I don't. So what should you do? You should make sure that you have an automated email welcome series. New donors should be part of a workflow or part of an email flow. When they make a new donation, they learn about your organization. There are so many donors that may have heard about you through a friend, may have attended an event, may have heard about you through Giving Tuesday, some other source, and they only know about 3% of what you do, 3% of your cause area, 3% of the problem that you solve. An email welcome series is a great way to educate them and connect with them, create that connection right out of the gate. It's something that you create once and then it runs in the background to new donors. If you're like, I don't know how to do that, you may need to look at your tech tools. You may have an email service provider or not have an email service provider and need to get on an email service provider like MailChimp, ConvertKit, Constant Contact, etc., so that you can set that up. Frictionless giving also looks like text messaging. I think SMS texting is one of those things that's been in the background. It's been in the ecosystem for a while now, and it's not going away. It's kind of like QR codes, right? Remember when QR codes first came out, we were all like, we don't need, we were excited about them and then we weren't. And then 2020 happened. And then now QR codes are back. Like they are back. Do I want it at a restaurant? But do I want it on a direct mail appeal? Hell yes. Okay. So if that's true, I would argue SMS texting is the same thing. It's actually become something that's foundational and a great add-on to your tech suite. So I don't want you to use texting the way that you might use email, right? Definitely not with that frequency, but it is a great piece in a tech-driven donor experience. I think that we're going to see more and more adoption of SMS texting. I'll make sure we cover that more deeply in episodes to come. So that's what I've got for you for the trends episode. Those are the 12 trends I really want you to focus on for the next year. Ask yourself, like, what was most resonant with me? If you want help with these, implementing these, that's what my programs are built for, whether it's email, whether it's as a solo ED, learning and building the skill to run online fundraisers, or as a scaling team to come in and scale your team using digital fundraising, social street team, and layering more advanced strategies. This is the work we do inside Easy Emails for Impact, the Sprint Method, and the Purpose and Profit Club. So I'm going to run through those top 12 strategies again, just to remind you where we were and ask yourself, like, what are the top 4 to 5 that I really want to focus on? Trend 1. Audience growth is your revenue engine. This was all about lead gen. Trend 2, laptop fundraising and email first campaigns. This is about hitting your fundraising goal from your laptop. No more galas, no more in-person anything. We're talking about nimble, fast, wildly efficient digital campaigns. Trend 3, the rise of human amplifiers. That is leveraging and borrowing other people's audiences using the social street team method. Trend 4, scrappy leader-driven content and breaking that fourth wall, right? We want the wink. We want to know that we're connected. So that authentic human leadership content. Trend 5, super fan retention. It's time to fall in love with your donors, not be mad at them, not resent them, not say that they're, not that generous, right? But this turning that I gave once into I'm in this with you, that energy. Trend 6, LinkedIn as a lead gen and visibility channel. Really important distinction here. You're using LinkedIn as your personal account, not your page for your organization. Trend 7, prioritizing better tech tools and automation. Trend 8, AI assisted fundraising becoming normal, part of your day-to-day. Okay, your next assistant. Trend 9, DAFs, donor advised funds, are really moving into the spotlight, and you have a plan for DAFs in your organization. Trend 10, coloring outside the lines. Throw out the coloring book, throw out the rule book, throw out outdated strategies. Trend 11, decision speed as a growth strategy. Be decisive. right? Be decisive because perfectionism kills revenue. And trend 12, tech-driven donor experience and frictionless giving. If you need help with any of this, send me a message over on LinkedIn. I'm hanging out there a lot these days. I'm so excited for this year to be your biggest year yet. I'll see you next time.